places in the world hold as much historical, spiritual, and geopolitical significance as Israel. For thousands of years, this land has been at the crossroads of faith, prophecy, and power, shaped by the teachings of Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. But beyond the ancient stories, what does Israel represent today? And what role might it play in shaping the future of the world? In this video, we'll explore the story of Israel through the eyes of the three Abrahamic religions: Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. What do their sacred texts say about its past, present, and future? What prophecies and beliefs surround this land, and how do these perspectives influence the world today? We'll dive into prophecies from each religion, uncover their shared themes and stark differences, and analyze how these teachings resonate with our modern world. Whether you're seeking knowledge or looking to understand the global significance of Israel, this journey promises to be enlightening. Let's begin with the first perspective. We'll explore Israel through the lens of Judaism, the oldest of the Abrahamic religions, where Israel is not just a land, but a sacred promise and cornerstone of Jewish identity. In Jewish tradition, Israel is the promised land granted to Abraham's descendants through a divine covenant. In the Torah, God tells Abraham, "To your offspring I will give this land, from the river of Egypt to the great river the Euphrates." Genesis 15:18. For Jews, this covenant signifies not only ownership, but a spiritual responsibility to uphold God's laws in the land. Jerusalem as the holiest city. Jerusalem, or the Yerushalayim, is the spiritual and historical heart of Judaism. It was the site of the first and second temples, central to Jewish worship. After the second temple's destruction in 70 CE, Jews prayed for their return, saying, "Next year in Jerusalem." Jewish eschatology centers on the hope for redemption and the coming of the Messiah, with the rebuilding of the third temple in Jerusalem as a key event. This vision also brings tension, especially concerning the Al-Aqsa Mosque on the Temple Mount. Modern Israel and Jewish identity. The establishment of the State of Israel in 1948 was seen as a political milestone, a return to the ancestral homeland after nearly 2,000 years of exile. Can a country be born in a day, or a nation be brought forth in a moment? Isaiah 66:8. For many, Israel's creation fulfilled this biblical prophecy. However, it also brought challenges, with debates over coexistence, territorial disputes, and the role of religion in politics. For Jews, Israel represents more than just geography. It is a divine promise, a spiritual center, and a symbol of resilience. These differing views on Zionism have led to significant internal conflicts within Judaism. For some, the creation of Israel is a divine gift and an act of divine intervention, while for others it represents a political and secular project that is at odds with their religious beliefs. These divisions within Judaism have sometimes spilled over into political and social issues, with disagreements on how Israel should be governed, its relationship with Palestinians, and the role of religion in the state. For easy understanding, Judaism follows a version of the Torah that emphasizes God's commands, focusing on minimizing harm to civilians and ensuring humane treatment during war. Talmud Tractate Berakot 58 Eta discusses how to act during times of war and how to treat others with respect, even in conflict. If one sees a city being destroyed, they should pray for mercy, as they are still human beings, and they must not rejoice over the destruction of others. This teaching underscores the importance of compassion and avoiding joy in the suffering of others, even during wartime. However, the current policies of the Israeli government seem to be influenced by a different interpretation of Torah, particularly Deuteronomy 20:16-18. In the cities of these peoples that the Lord your God is giving you as an inheritance, do not leave alive anything that breathes. Completely destroy them. Section 20:16. This passage reflects a command to annihilate certain nations, which is being reflected in modern conflict. Despite having one of the most advanced intelligence agencies, Israel was unable to prevent the October 7 attack, in which 1,200 people died. In response, it has killed over 50,000 people, including women and children in Palestine and more in Lebanon and Syria. It has also started gaining territories in the result. But how do these beliefs compare with those in Christianity and Islam? Let's reflect on the shared hopes and distinct paths these faiths envision for the land of Israel. Now let's turn to Christianity, where Israel holds immense significance, not only as a place of spiritual history, but also as the focal point of Christian eschatology. Christianity and Islam while distinct in many ways, share significant common ground when it comes to their views on Israel and the role of Jesus. Both religions agree that Jesus came to the land of Israel at a time when the Jewish people were believed to have strayed from the true path, and it was his mission to guide them back to righteousness. However, their interpretations of who Jesus was and what his role is different. While Christianity and Islam both hold Jesus in high regard, Judaism takes a very different view. Jews do not accept Jesus as the Messiah, and they still await the arrival of their Messiah. In Islam, Jesus is considered one of the greatest prophets, revered as Isa. Muslims believe that he was sent by God to the Jewish people, just as Christians believe. In fact, Muslims hold Jesus in such high regard that to be a true Muslim, one must acknowledge and respect him, just as they do Prophet Muhammad. However, the key difference between Christianity and Islam lies in how Jesus is understood. In Christianity, Jesus is not just a prophet. He is the Son of God, part of the Holy Trinity of Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. This belief in the divinity of Jesus is a cornerstone of Christian faith, but it contrasts sharply with Islam, where Jesus is viewed purely as a human prophet, not divine. In Christianity, this is known as the second coming, when Jesus will return to judge the world, defeat the Antichrist, Jewish Messiah, and establish God's kingdom on earth. In Islam, the return of Jesus, or Isa, is equally important. Muslims believe that he will return to fight the false Messiah, the Dajjal, Antichrist, Jewish Messiah, bringing justice and peace, and confirming the truth of Islam. Quote, "By him in whose hand is my soul, son of Mary, Jesus will shortly descend among you as a just ruler." End quote. The historical connection. Jesus and the birth of Christianity. For Christians, Israel is the land where Jesus Christ, the central figure of Christianity, was born, lived, and ultimately crucified. His life and teachings are deeply tied to this land, and for many it is sacred. For Christians, these events demonstrate not just historical facts but divine intervention in the world, marking Israel as a land of great spiritual importance. Israel and Christian eschatology. Christianity also ties Israel to its eschatological beliefs, those relating to the end times. The return of Jesus Christ, known as the Second Coming, is expected to take place in this region, particularly in Jerusalem. For millions of Christians, a pilgrimage to Jerusalem is a profound spiritual experience. Jerusalem is seen as not just a physical location, but as a symbol of salvation, redemption, and divine promise. In modern times, a movement known as Christian Zionism has gained prominence, particularly in the United States. For many Christian Zionists, the establishment of Israel is seen as a necessary precursor to the return of Christ. This belief stems from the idea that the Jewish people must return to their ancestral homeland before Christ can return. Critics of Christian Zionism argue that the modern political and military actions of Israel do not align with the teachings of Jesus, who preached peace, love, and reconciliation. They emphasize justice for all people, including Palestinians. This division highlights the tension within Christianity itself, as Christians wrestle with how to reconcile their faith with the modern political realities of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. For Christians, Israel represents both the foundation of their faith and a central element of their future salvation. Yet, as we've seen, there are diverse views on how modern Islam aligns with Christian teachings, particularly regarding the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Next, we turn to Islam to explore the profound connection Muslims have to this land and its role in their spiritual and eschatological beliefs. For Muslims, Israel, and more specifically Jerusalem, holds significant historical, spiritual, and eschatological importance. The connection between Islam and this region is deeply rooted in the teachings of the Quran and the life of Prophet Muhammad. In Islam, Jerusalem is known as Al-Quds, and it holds a special place as the third holiest city, after Mecca and Medina. Muslims believe that Jerusalem is the site of the Al-Aqsa Mosque, one of the key locations for prayer and worship. The significance of Al-Quds is enhanced by the belief in the Isra and Miraj, the miraculous night journey of Prophet Muhammad. According to Islamic tradition, Prophet Muhammad was transported from Mecca to Al-Aqsa Mosque, where he led other prophets in prayer before ascending to the heavens to receive divine revelation from Allah. It also connects them to the broader Abrahamic tradition of prophets like Moses, David, and Solomon, all of whom are highly revered in Islam. As we discussed earlier, Islam also holds Jesus in high regard, but not as the Son of God. In Islam, Jesus, referred to as Isa, is considered one of the greatest prophets sent by God to guide the people of Israel. Muslims believe that Jesus was born to the Virgin Mary, Maryam, through a miraculous birth and that he performed many miracles, just as the Bible recounts. However, unlike in Christianity, Muslims do not see Jesus as divine. He is viewed as a human prophet, a servant of God, who was sent to the children of Israel to call them back to righteousness. In Islam, Jesus plays an essential role in the end times. Muslims believe that Jesus will return to defeat the Antichrist, known as the Dajjal, and bring justice, peace, and righteousness to the world. His return is seen as a major event in Islamic eschatology. Jesus will descend in the Levant, near Damascus, and he will establish peace, unite humanity, and guide people back to the worship of the one true God. This shared belief in the return of Jesus with Christianity underscores the connection between the two faiths. Even though the specifics of Jesus' role differ, Muslims view his return as a necessary part of the coming of the Day of Judgment. In the context of the modern Israeli-Palestinian conflict, Muslims view the land of Israel, especially Jerusalem, as a Palestinian homeland. Many Muslim leaders see the establishment of Israel in 1948 as an unjust occupation of land that has been historically and spiritually connected to the Arab and Muslim populations. The Palestinian people, many of whom are Muslim, consider themselves the rightful inhabitants of the land, with a strong cultural and religious connection to the region from thousands of years. For them, the occupation of Jerusalem by Israel is a significant point of tension and a source of religious and political conflict. Islamic thought generally opposes Zionism, which is the political movement that led to the creation of the State of Israel. For many Muslims, Zionism is viewed as a form of colonialism and expansionism, and they see the movement as incompatible with Islamic principles of justice and self-determination for the Palestinian people. For Muslims, Israel and its significance are intertwined with both religious reverence and political conflict. While the city of Jerusalem holds a place of immense spiritual importance, the modern political situation surrounding Israel is viewed through the lens of justice, human rights, and the protection of Muslim sacred sites. The tension between the historical significance of the land and the political realities of today's Israel continues to shape the Islamic perspective on the region, underscoring the need for a just and peaceful resolution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict.